Yes, there was. Yes, all right, folks. Now we can start. There was an issue with my mic. Now let's see today's newspaper. Now the first thing is Ambedkar's name. Now there has been a lot of debate about B.R. Ambedkar, and there have been a lot of articles about B.R. Ambedkar and his legacy, and then how people are fighting in his name. Both the Congress and the BJP, which both of these parties have had differences. If you see historically, both of these parties have had differences with B.R. Ambedkar. So we are anyways going to do some part of it in the editorial as well as in the explained page. But one thing that you need to do is have a deep research about B.R. Ambedkar, his ideals, his values, especially for the interview sessions as well, because of the fact that he's there in news. Then another news that is there is popular drugs for weight loss endorsed by WHO scientists. Now this has been news for 3-4 years now. I'm surprised that UPSC has never asked on this, but you should be aware that there is a company called as. In fact, their office is right at near the Rajendra Metro station. Novo Nordisk is the name of the company, and they produce a particular drug which initially was to handle diabetes, but what the doctors found out was that this was a very good drug for weight reduction. So from being a diabetic drug, it became a weight reduction drug, and this is basically because of a class of receptor which is called as GLP-1 receptor agonists. So what they do is they basically what this receptor does is that it gives you the feeling of satiation. So instead of having those say four chola baturas, you will probably have one chola batura, and you will then feel very full. So basically it regulates this appetite, sugar levels, to basically manage obesity. But at the same point of time, what is going to happen in the next couple of years is that this drug will become generic in nature, because its patent will expire, and then you might also get a kind of abuse of this particular drug, and the moment that you are weaned out of this drug, again you tend to become obese. Now this is important from the point of view of a country like India. First of all, in the world we have around, I think, 89 crore people who are obese, and of which around 6 crore people or 7 crore people are in India, 4.4 crore women and 2.6 crore men. So this particular drug is anyways very enticing for people who have high weight, but at the same point of time, what is needed is not a shot in the arm kind of a solution, but a lifestyle change which is needed, because this has huge implications on mortality, cardiovascular diseases, and health of the economy, which again in any case has economic costs and then cost for the society. So think of it as a shot in arm, and then you're trying to resolve the situation. Then the next is India Pakistan won't play each other at each other's ground, ICC for neutral venues. Now, as a continuation of no talks with terror, no talks with terror, we have also not extended our cricket diplomacy, and we've said that we'll not go to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy. And as a formula, as a formula, India is about to host the 2026 World Cup, and then we've said that okay, you don't even come to India for the World Cup. We'll hold all of these venues, or all of these matches in a neutral venue. So, I mean, for avid cricket lovers, you should be aware of what is happening in this context as well. Then there is one more news. Yes, there's a steep rise of Indians in Georgia. You can probably read why it is there, because of the fact that the land is easily available, and you are anyways people from Indian origin want to go to different areas to do MBBS. So MBBS is another option in Georgia, apart from the fact that the agricultural land is cheap there. So you see a lot of people visiting Georgia. Apart from that, also you should be aware of the fact that this is not there was not there in the Indian Express, that why in Romania the elections have been annulled. So please read about that particular issue too. Then let's move to, also I'd asked people on the interview group to go through this particular session. Madan Sabnavis, you can also follow him on LinkedIn as well. He writes really well on basically issues with respect to Indian economy. And anyways, you can read all of that in the newspapers as well. Then if you are a Delhiite, you should be again be prepared about what is grab and why they are not working, what are the issues with respect to this. So everything respect to your this thing should be aware. Then apart from that, Prayagraj Mahakumbh, people from UP, you should be aware about the Mahakumbh, and then what all are the places where Kumbh are there, and then how it can be an attractive source for tourism, and then how the management happens there. So this is something that for all of you who are from UP, tourism in UP you should be aware about. Then let's move down. India and France signed pact for Grand Museum in North and South blocks. Now, North and South blocks, first of all, you should be aware about, they host. North block hosts the Ministry of Finance, and the South block basically hosts Finance and Home Affairs, and the South block basically hosts a PMO and External Affairs. Now, both of them are being vacated, and as a part of Central Vista redevelopment project, what is happening is that you are going to create these lavish government buildings, and you have this Yuga Yugin Bharat National Museum that will be developed with the help of adaptive reuse, and with the expertise of French, who have also exemplified the grand places like the Louvre, and the Grand Palace, and the Hotel de la Marine. So we are going to develop world class kind of museum style workplaces in North and South block. This will be a part of the Central Vista redevelopment project. Then another important news, this is important from the prelims point of view as well, but interviews as well. After 13 years, protected area regime to be back in Manipur. First, you should be aware of the fact that what is protected area regime now, and why it has been implemented in the border districts of Manipur, Mizoram, and Nagaland, which basically the PER says that no foreigner will be allowed to visit these places without the permit from Ministry of Home Affairs. In fact, people who are tourists, who are going for tourism as well, are also are also expected to take certain kinds of permits. So this was initially there since the order of 1958, and it is not just there for these areas, it is also there for Arunachal. If you see Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Mizoram, Nagaland, parts of J&K, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, all these border states, we have this protected area regime where you need the permission of the government if you are a foreigner to visit. Then apart from that, the UPA government had lifted some of these provisions, but at the same point of time, what is happening in Manipur, it is basically being felt that a lot has to do with the people coming from outside. But there is the other thing is that does it actually curb, if there is an illegal migrant coming in India, that in any case, whether you have PR or not, that person is going to come to India. So this does not stop the porosity of the borders. Then coming to the meat of the paper, yes, there's another article that you can read. Now this article, just a second, yeah, this article that is there, it talks about India and US relationship, and why this is more important is because the article and then the interview is basically written by and given by a former US ambassador, Indian ambassador to US. So always read such issues, because they give you the analysis, and you get the analysis, at a very professional level. Now, first of all, he talks about on the re-election of Donald Trump, and then how he has won the election. Now, not only he has won the electoral college, but the popular vote as well. So not I mean, he's become the president, but also when you talk about the Congress, he's there in the Congress as well. The Republicans have won in the Congress as well. So he has a very stable government with him, with the backing of the Congress as well. So whatever he feels, I mean, or does, is likely to go through Congress as well. Now, how the Trump will be different, because of the fact that he has already started making those changes. He has already started making a lot of announcement, whether it's tariff, whether it's international relations, whether it's Israel or Hamas, or Ukraine or Russia. So he's made a lot of these statements, and especially because of the fact that the people that he's going to appoint is not even getting them vetted through CIA and FBI. He's getting them vetted through private agencies, because he has a mistrust with the establishment. Now, this, you might, I mean, you can't say these in interviews, but you should be aware of the fact that there is a bigger deep state that exists in every country, especially in a country like US. Now, which has vested interest, where just like in India, I can perhaps say that the deep state in India is India's bureaucracy. That everyone else will change, but the bureaucracy will be the permanent executive. So there is this, or there is this body, and if this organizes, then I mean, if you don't get passed through the bureaucracy, nothing can be done in India. Similarly, the bureaucracy in US is extremely deeply embedded in the state, and they don't think of presidents as presidents. They are basically the ones who will come in every 4 years and then go away. So he has a mistrust with deep state, and which had been pointed out during the elections as well. Now, Elon Musk has invested huge amounts of money in it. Not huge, but in any case, it is huge amount of money. But then you have to understand, Trump is Trump. For him, every deal is a business deal. I mean, for him, maybe Musk was required during election. Maybe he'll not acknowledge, but what seems to take place right now, that you wherever you see Trump, you are seeing Elon Musk. So he will be a close advisor along with Vivek Ramaswamy, who are taking Department of Government Efficiency. Now, from the point of view of interview, and from the point of view of mains, and especially from public administration, you should explore the idea of Department of Government Efficiency. There are a couple of Forbes articles on it. What does it stand? How the government agencies are inflated. You can also relate it to India, that are the government agencies and the government expenditure inflated in India? Can we actually reduce it? So finding merit and in that argument. Then on Trump priorities, we have already seen that it is basically then resolving the Ukraine Russian war. And because he's not been in favor of putting money, and not even able to trace money, you should be aware of the fact that Pentagon has recently failed the fourth audit that is there, and there are billions of dollars which are missing from their kitty. So something needs to be done there. And then the other thing is tariff, and turning turning the trade, and tackling China. But at the same point of time, you should be aware of the fact that people who support him, in fact, he himself is also invested in China as well. Elon Musk has huge stakes in China. What he's probably going to do is he's going to play his cards for and against China. Then in terms of on India US ties in Trump 2.0, we've had a very strong relationship since 2000, the year 2000, and we've received a lot of foreign investment. In fact, the largest investment that we have had, foreign investment, is from US. And the fact that politically and people to people, as well as administratively, we are very close to each other, despite India maintaining its multipolarity and multi-alignment. But there's a new concept called global capability centers. Now, India is not servicing operations for US, but it is basically also heralding global operations of multinational companies from India, and doing all that cutting edge R&D and technology development, and 60% of these global capability centers are US based. US is thinking of India as a place where they can challenge the rise of Russia, of rise of China. So very very important part here. Then you have the second article, which is a very very important article, that especially in context of the fact that now Trump is coming. What is India and Moscow going to do, and is India Moscow relationship going to take a backseat? But this article, which is written by Samir Saran, who heads by the way ORF, and he has basically written that the power relationships are going to change and the new administration is going to come, and then yes, there will be intensification of rivalry with China, but India's role is extremely, extremely important in 2025 and on. Why? Because it serves as a bridge between the West and Russia. One thing is that we cannot let Russia fall into the hegemony of China, and if it is isolated, this is what will happen, and we've already seen that trend that has started to come. Then the other thing is that India stands as a bridge. Why? Because India is both a member of Quad as well as it is part of SCO and BRICS. So what happens is that if you take India out of SCO and BRICS, then these particular organizations become anti-West. So India is the one which is acting as the bridge between these two parties. Then apart from that, we've had flourishing now in the last couple of years after the sanctions have been put. We've had strong economic relationship with Russia as well. Earlier we only used to have the defense relationship used to kind of overshadow everything else. So that is also important, and for a multipolar world order we need India Russia relationship, because otherwise the world is very very fragmented, very very agnostic to each other. We also need that challenge to Western dominance, because otherwise the Western sector, because it's on the ascendancy, so everything will be done by them. So we need to have that as well. And the article also says that we have done a lot of things together, for example in energy, technological development, strategic interests, and the example is the BrahMos missile, which we have also now given to Philippines to fend off the Chinese. So a rule based order, and not to allow China to veto everything what it does is what is required. So this article talks about all these 4 5 issues that are there. Apart from the fact that even in not just this, we also need to bridge the world and Russia. The other thing, as I told you, preventing Russia from entering the dragon, the Chinese dragon. Then trade, I've already spoken to. And Arctic region is also very important, that exploring the Arctic region, because of climate change that region will open up, and there are a number of resources that will be found, so we need to be heavily invested there as well. And then multilateral groupings are not we can ensure that these multilateral groupings are not weaponized against the West. So it is for the West also, it is very 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 interesting that India should be a part of this particular and India Russia relation should be there. So read about this particular article. Then over Baba Sahib is the same article, that debating legacy surely does him proud, because everyone is now talking about Ambedkar for the last 1 week or 2 weeks. And in fact, whether it's Congress or it's Bahujan Samaj Party or it's SP or is it or it's BJP, for everyone Ambedkar is a political it's a political gain for them to use, and it's political expediency to gain to use him. Why? Because of the fact that if they want the Dalits to be on their side, if they want the marginalized to be on their side, they have to use his name. So because of that, the philosophy and then the kind of rigor, and what his contribution to Indian polity is always revived. But at the same point of time, beating each other and having brawls is something which is does not do well with his legacy. So you can probably read, not very important, but still maybe just for fun. Then hawkish approach. Now what has happened, and we are going to read another article on the economy page with respect to this. Now the US Federal Reserve has lowered the interest rate, but at the same point of time you have to understand what they have said. They have said that next year we are not sure. We were thinking of 4 rate cuts, but next year, because of Trump, what is going to happen is that is going to raise tariffs, which is going to increase the prices of commodity. At the same point of time, we are not sure how who is planning to reduce the taxes. So again, if the taxes are reduced, then our incomes are reduced, government expenditures, I mean government deficits will increase, which might lead to inflation. So understand what is the context. If Donald Trump increases tariff, then the prices of import increases, so inflation is increasing. And if he cuts taxes, then what is happening? The government deficit is increasing, and if the government deficit increases, again the inflation is going to be there. So his expected actions are inflationary in nature, and because they are inflationary in nature, therefore the Federal Reserve is saying now that although we are cutting the interest rate by 25 basis points, and we are targeting yeah, our federal funds rate to between 4.25 and 4.5%. But at the same point of time, for next year we are saying that we might not have 4 cuts, we might have only 2 cuts, that also when we see that they are fit. And the expected inflation that they expect is 2.5% instead of the initial expectation of 2.1%. So all of this has led to this. But at the same point of time, what has happened is that there is now, because whenever there is the sense of crisis, everyone moves towards US. So because of that, what we are seeing is all the reserves are moving towards US. Every investor, every FII, everyone who thinks that there is a crisis of sorts that might be brewing, they are going to US, and the US dollar is strengthening. So, and at the same point of time, Indian rupee is weakening, and the markets have also fallen because of the fact that this portfolio money is now going back, because of that risk on scenario that has been created because of the coming up of Trump. So this is there. But at the same point of time, remember day before yesterday I told you about strategic Bitcoin reserve and strategic cryptocurrency reserve. Please read about that. That's a very, very important phenomena, both for prelims, mains, as well as your interview. Then cricket fans, people from Tamil Nadu, you should all know about R Ashwin and in and out, what has been contribution and stuff. Then I'm not dealing with these 2 articles. We've dealt with Ambedkar enough. For fun, if you want to read, you can read Derek O'Brien's article on what has happened this in the parliament this season. Then taxing of coconut oil. Now basically policy issue with respect to the fact that whether coconut oil is a edible oil, or is it a hair oil. Because if you convert it into a edible oil, it is to be taxed at 5% under GST. But if it's a hair oil, then hair oil products are taxed under 18%. So that is the conundrum, that how do you treat this particular case. By the way, this reminds me of the fact that you should be aware, for your interview you should be aware about the mineral taxes and the royalties on minerals. They are now accrued to the state governments, and the state government can do that. You should be aware about that entire issue for your interviews for this time, as well as for your prelims. Now taxing coconut oil. Now the Supreme Court has said that this has been an issue of classification, and the Supreme Court has said that coconut is a primarily edible oil and should be taxed at a lower rate. The fact that it is also used as a hair oil is an addition to it, but its basic character is that of a edible oil, and it has rejected the common parlance parlance test, and then common parlance test is that if it is sold, अगर वो छोटे छोटे units में sold हो रहा है 50 grams, 100 grams, 200 grams, then it will be they will tax it to be at 18%. But if it's at a higher level, then you will tax it at 5%. So they rejected the common parlance test, and they said that there is in this article they have talked about this where is that harmonized system of nomenclature. So harmonized system of nomenclature basically segregates all kinds of commodities, and for international taxation purposes. So the World Customs Organization, so you should also be aware of the World Customs Organization, what harmonized system of nomenclature is. This is for your prelims. An intergovernmental body representing 186 administration around the world. Now it has basically said, and the Supreme Court has said that the classification of coconut oil is already in line with the harmonized system of nomenclature while classifying these products, and this should guide that these should be taxed at a lower cost. And they also give the example of the fact that how even homeopathic hair oil has been classified as a medicament, and then we have also talked about anardana, which has been described as edible fruit and nut, whether it is an edible fruit or nut, or it is an oilseed and oleaginous fruit. So it has been given the latter status. So you can read about this. Then Ambedkar BJP and this thing, but again a very very political thing. And at times just I've seen that in interviews people have written debating and stuff there. At times the interview board might push you to the edge, especially if you're a good candidate. See, if it's an average candidate, the interview usually is on the lighter note. But if the interview board has made the decision that your DAF stands to be at somewhere around 190 200, then they will try to push you towards it. And then if you really stand well, then you might even get 210 215. So depends on where does the interview board see you. Now at the same point of time, you can be asked about choosing between Ambedkar and Gandhi. Who will you choose and how will you choose? So it's a very very tricky question, and you have to give your pros and cons, and maybe you can take four sides of Ambedkar and three sides of Gandhi, and then argue it out. So try to find your answers and in these kinds of critical situations. Then the article basically talks about the fact that how the Hindu nationalists and Ambedkar actually did not see face to face on a number of issues, particularly with respect to Rashtriya Swamsevak as well. They talk about Savarkar as well. So what they had done was that, first of all, this is basically the background is again because what Amit Shah had said, but the context is that that Ambedkar was always a staunch critique of caste-based discrimination and the Hindu social structure. In fact, he had said that I was born a Hindu, but I will not die a Hindu. And at the same point of time, he said that there are fundamental changes that are needed in the Hindu religion and the Hindu personal laws, for which he introduced and tried to amend this through the Hindu Code Bill. But at the same point of time, these reforms were all all the Hindu rights body and the RSS had pushed strongly against it. In fact, the Shama Prasad Mukherjee, the co-founder of Bharatiya Jan Sangh, has described the bill to be as a threat to Hindu culture, and they launched this triad against the bill in their periodical called the Organizer. So they had not seen with Ambedkar eye to eye on a number of issues, and even with Sarwarkar, Ambedkar has said that Sarwarkar is confused and Sarwarkar's whatever Sarwarkar's plans are impractical. So, in general, folks, you should be aware about these major national figures, whether it's Nehru, whether it's Ambedkar, whether it's Sarwarkar, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. So all these major people till 1970s, their ideologies you should be clear of. You should have a brief idea about them, especially if you come from their state as well. So read about this, and then then RSS used to also talk about that they used to be dismissive of caste, and but they started to invoke, everyone started to invoke Ambedkar after the 80s, because after the 80s you had the era of coalition politics, and in coalition politics every small party matters, and then they saw an opportunity of how to get the Dalits on board as well as the marginalized on board, because for them Ambedkar is kind of a demigod. And they started organizing this sangams and all these events of birthdays of Ambedkar and others. You can read about all of this through this lens. Then from Vichy 2013 to Gukesh to 2024, a very important issue. How and I've been telling you that you should be aware about the transition of Indian chess from Vishwanathan Anand to Gukesh, and not just that, you should also be aware of at least five major players who are there on the international circuit. So Prabhananda you should be aware about. You should also be aware about the women that are there in this arena. But at the same point of time, how we have been able to create more than 50 grandmasters in the last decade, the highest in the world, whereas in the initial 25 years we have only turned up with two or one grandmaster. So you should be aware about that. And becoming a chess nation, how we are becoming a chess nation and grandmaster nation, because of the fact that a lot of online presence is there, online coaching is available, and internet penetration is there. Even COVID for that matter would have helped, because there were number of players who were playing in COVID as well. Then you have women players like Kuneru Hampi and Harika Dronawali, so you should be aware about them as well. So this whole generation that is there, and the earlier generation is basically training all of them, which basically means that the era of Vichy's children is truly upon us, which was also said by Garry Kasparov. So read about this particular news. Then why the stock markets have slid after the US Fed has signaled slower rates. I've already told you that the interest, the guidance for US Federal Reserve is that they've reduced the interest rate by 25 basis point, but at the same point of time there are only two cuts that they are seeing in next year, and because I've told you the reason. And then that has led to a huge outflow of foreign portfolio investors and the rising of US bond yield. So rising of US bond yields basically means that US debt instrument are paying you more interest. If US debt instruments are paying you more interest, then why will you invest in India? They're paying you more interest, and that is less risky, and India is more risky. So therefore people are moving towards, all these FIIs are moving towards US, and therefore the Indian rupee has also taken a hit, and Indian stock markets have also taken a hit. So read about this particular news. The related to this is rupee falls to all time low of this. Nifty tanks. Then states need to contain rationalized subsidy outgo. You can read this particular article. And see the effect. Russia ready to compromise with Trump on Ukraine war, says Putin. So this is perhaps the impact of Trump as well. And finally, there was one thing that I wanted to discuss, just in case someone is a sports fan. Yes, how baseball star Soto bagged a record 15-year, $765 contract. Who is Soto? What is this New York Mets? And what is happening in the field of baseball? Just in case. So this is what we have to study for today, folks. And I will see you in other classes. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday. Probably tomorrow, I'll see if I can have another class on current affairs. Thank you very much. See you. Bye bye.